On today's show, we're going to be talking about some more of the books that we've been reading. Okay, so we talk about a lot of comic books.
We do.
We read a lot of comic books, but sometimes they don't necessarily fit into the show. Kind of a lot of stuff, in our spare time. So this is the perfect opportunity to talk about those.
Yes, it is.
Do you want to kick us off?
I can kick us off. So the last few times we've done this, I talked about Sinestro Cool Wars. And then I talked about Green Lantern Rebirth. Yeah. So you might be getting a bit of a theme there that Dale's working his way through.
Reading the Green Lantern.
Reading the Green Lanterns. And I have another one today. It's the one immediately following the Sinestro Cool Wars, and it is Rage of the Red Lantern. This is the first time we are introduced to the Red Lanterns, especially Atrocitus. Atrocitus.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And, his story and how the Red Lanterns came to be. We also get a lot of stuff with the Yellow Lanterns and the Blue Lanterns. And I think right at the end of the book, let me just double check. Yeah, we get introduced to the Star Sapphire Pink Lanterns. This is great. Jeff Johns' run up to the Blackest Night, which I'm one away from the Blackest Night now, has been absolutely fantastic so far. He knows the character of Hal Jordan so well. And he writes Sinestro amazingly, and we really get this playing with the rules and the laws of Oa and how the Guardians they're wrong in many respects, and they try and change the laws to fit around the current situation. They're just doing a bad job of it, and it leads to, in their attempts to avoid the Blackest Night, they're just putting themselves deeper in it, which is, very counterproductive, quite frankly. But yeah, no, it is a fantastic book, and I highly recommend that people go out and start reading the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run if you haven't already, because it's been fantastic up until now.
Yeah, and they're all available in trade.
Yeah,
still very much in print.
Oh yes.
So Chris Streets left a comment on one of our videos a couple of weeks ago asking Thank you, Chris. Asking if any of us had read Hellboy.
Yeah.
And I said we hadn't, that I would. So I have. I picked this up the other day, and so I'm gonna review it for you.
Hey! Is that what we do here?
I'm just gonna be a 90s X-Men comic and be completely expositional and just make sure everyone knows where we are. No.
This is our review.
So Hellboy is Mike Mignola's creation. And Mike Mignola's pretty much exclusively drawn and written Hellboy since inception. Yeah. Apart from him appearing in other places and things like that. This is the first issue. This was written in 1994. And it's absolutely crazy to me that this book, which, as most of you know, probably, is gorgeous. Like, the art in this book is stunning, and you get, like, real plays with, like, color, and it's just great. The fact that, like, all of the sort of Rob Liefeld Image stuff and all the X-Men, that was all going on at the same time as this. I mean, obviously they're aimed at different audience, but this really is gorgeous. Yeah. But you probably knew that anyway, because you've seen images of Hellboy, and it has that look about it. It has that real, there's something about it. There's something about the way it looks.
Yeah. It's just got a unique
style about
it. Yeah.
In terms of the story, there is, again, nowhere near the extent as the Marvel and all that stuff, but they're a bit caption heavy. A bit, there's still a bit of, I'm telling you what the character's doing, which I just don't know why it's there, and it's frustrating. And
well,
the fact
it's not anymore.
Yeah, the fact that we got to the 90s and this was still the case, but it's completely livable. Yeah. And the art style more than makes up for it. The story as well is sort of this great mystery story. He's, in many ways, Hellboy is like a detective, but for like the supernatural, Lovecraftian things. I mean, what this issue does more than anything is sets up a fantastic premise. Like, it covers a lot of bases, it covers a lot of ground, and then creates a world for future stories that you get a sense are going to be great. Yeah. You get a sense they're going to look the same as this, but they're going to have characters that you've now gotten to know, and they're going to have stories which are a little more involved. So It's great. Like it's great. It's great to look at. It's great to have on your shelf. It's got really cool extras in the back that not a lot of comic books have.
Nice little Simon Bisley artwork.
And there's
in
some
there.
all red Hellboy. There's some Frank Miller Hellboy in the back. So, Chris, I would definitely recommend that you pick up Hellboy. It's £10 on Amazon. I don't know if you live in the States. $15. And yeah, I know. I definitely would recommend anyone picking this up. Actually,
Not just Chris.
Not just Chris.
You can get it as well.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Chris, but
This must be freaking him out right now. Hey, Chris.
But yeah, Hellboy, great, cool.
Hey, James Halligan. Talking to you now. I'm kidding. James Halligan commented on one of our videos not too long ago asking if either of us had read Revival. Well, now I have.
Oh, aren't we good?
This is fan service 101 right now. That's what we do here. We aim to please. So, Revival is a very interesting story. I mean, had you not have recommended it to me, I'd have picked it up, because on the back we've got a little thing from Jeff Lemire and a little thing from Michael Allred. So I was kind of like, well, I'm reading that. And yeah, the story basically revolves around this small town in America. It's very similar to something like in Fargo. It's this winter town. Very few people live there. It's a local town for local folk. And one day, the dead just get up, start walking around. They're not zombies. They're not trying to eat people. They just wake up and they're like, "What's happening?" And it's this mystery story. The police are trying to get into it and find out what's going on. The CDC is trying to see if it's infectious. Religious nuts are trying to get into the town. They're all trying to get out because they're freaked out. And yeah, it kind of develops from there, from the dead rising into more demon-y territory and things like that. This is a great recommendation. It's Image Comics, so you know it's going to be good. I'm getting a bit bored of saying that, but it's annoyingly true. Every book they come out with is just good. And yeah, it's just got some great characters in here, some nice twists and turns, and some genuinely creepy moments. Like, it is freaky. When the dead come back to life, sometimes it's not as cool as it should be. And it's, you know, a lot of these families in this local town are having to put up with the fact that, oh, well, all of a sudden my grandma's walking around, and, you know, it's very disturbing.
They rotted and all that sort of stuff.
Some. It varies. They heal very quickly, but some of them have been in the ground too long to come back. And there's one old lady who's used to wear dentures when she was alive, but now her teeth are growing again, so she's pulling them all out every other night because she can just feel them growing, and it's freaking her out. And yeah, it's horrible. But great. Really messed up, kind of a horror Fargo, if you will. So definitely worth picking up the first trade of that. And speaking of Image,
I have Brandon Graham's Prophet.
Hey!
Based on Rob Liefeld's character of John Prophet from the 90s, although having very little really to do with it. I haven't read any of that stuff. It feels like there are references in here that I just don't get. Like, that's what it feels like. It's sort of this high sci-fi concept. Simon Roy does the art. And it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It works very well on a sort of sci-fi level. There are lots of interesting ideas here and there. Like, you'll see something, you it's a really cool idea, and that's a cool idea. And the way it's drawn, and it has like these labels and stuff, and it's just got a really kind of nice feel about it. It's quite difficult book to get into. You'll read a thing and you'll be like, I don't know what happened there, and you'll read it again. I did read it twice, so that's a testament to it. Yeah. But there's no hero yet. That one sort of appears at the end. So there's a lot of you don't really care what happens. You're just trying to find out. You're trying to work out what's happening, and there's some fun in that. But we don't really get anyone to root for and to get behind yet. So this really slow burns the first 6 issues, and the second trade isn't even out yet. So if you jump on board here, you'll be well up to it. But if you like your sci-fi, which I do, and you're not, you like something that's gonna make you, it's great to look at, and it's something that's going to make you go, okay, I don't quite know. Maybe have to read it 2 or 3 times to sort of get what's happening. And even then, like, it's quite obscure. Doesn't really take no prisoners. But no, I had a good time with it, and you know, hopefully the problem that I had with it was no one really to root for, no one to care about, no one to get behind. Hopefully that'll be sorted in volume 2.
Yeah. I've got it sitting over there on the shelf. Charlie, who guest hosted with me a couple of weeks ago, he's been recommending it to me a lot. So yeah, I'm very excited to go and give it a read.
Aye.
And if there's anything you want us to read and talk about on the show, leave it down there in the comments below. We love hearing from you.
We do. It's always nice to get recommendations, things that you might have missed that might have gone under our radars.
And hey, you know where else people can send recommendations to?
On Twitter.
On Twitter, @ComicBookShow1. Give us some recommendations in 140 characters or less.
Yeah.
We love hearing those.
Yeah, and we just thank you for watching this week's videos. We hope you enjoyed them, and we'll see you next week.
This is fan service 101 right now. That's what we do here.